All right, all right, all right. What is happening, everybody? Man, thank you guys tuning in to another episode of Coffee and Coaching. Super excited. Have Bryant and Erin Melton on with us today. Gonna talk. Who knows what the hell we're gonna talk about? We'll talk about lots.
That's right.
All kinds of stuff.
How are you guys doing this morning?
Great. How are you?
Doing wonderful. Got the coffee going. So
There you go.
It's a good morning.
We're too young for coffee. You're old enough to drink coffee.
So yeah, so the week leading up to like Ironman events or whatever, so it's like limit caffeine, and it's a good thing because I feel terrible like on Monday and Tuesday of that week, and I get that just throbbing. So it's a good indication that there's definitely too much coffee flowing. So
it's great. A little shuffling the papers on your desk a few too many times and reorganizing things. You're like a little ramped up.
Well, I appreciate you guys jumping in, and I know today's conversation is going to be fun and talk lots of things. Talk business, life, and everything else. So give folks just a little bit of background. I love your guys' story is fun, and I'd love for you to kind of share, give a little bit of background for everybody listening in.
Absolutely. So we have been in the business for 20 years. And when I say we, I've been kind of the main person selling the whole time. Bryant came in for a couple of years and did things, but has always been kind of better on the running the business and back end things and everything else that makes everything look beautiful and pretty. But we've known each other since middle school. Met in homeroom or at the locker. I'm not sure exactly which one. Yeah. Maiden name was an M also, so we were always in homerooms and right by each other in yearbooks, and then our lockers were right by each other. So I think it was just destined. Yeah. Have essentially grew up together and have grown up together in a business as well, and raising a family and all of that stuff. So we lots of expressions like, I don't know who said it first. Him or me, it's gotten to that point. You just don't know.
So Erin spends most of her days now like thinking of creative ways that she's going to murder me, and
pretty much.
It always is super creative.
Oh, I love it. No, that's definitely one of the things that just I admire about you guys. Had Rebecca and Josue Soto on Expert Mentors yesterday. And so, kind of hearing their story on how they navigate the family dynamics. And so share how that has worked for you guys, right? Because also having kiddos in the business and to be maybe, son-in-laws in the business. And so how do we navigate,
don't be spilling the beans on anything. I'm going to get you in trouble.
So because that's the thing with real estate, right? It's like, hey, we think it's going to be a good idea to get the family, and sometimes one wants it more than the other, and it's kind of can get messy. So how do you guys navigate it? How have you guys made it work?
Yeah. When we got started, so my dad was in the business for 20 something years, and he sold cars before that. And so we always generally sort of knew about it. Erin, I don't think, has anybody in her family that's in real estate. But it was one of those things that it's like, we don't have a degree. We had kids before we were 9, it's like, you've got to do something. So I went in the Air Force and did that for 8 years. And when we came back to Virginia and we were at least close to home, Erin decided, Ryan was already 4.5 or something, getting ready to start school. And she started taking pictures for the MLS with a 35 millimeter camera. Right.
Nice.
Pretty busy.
And they were this is in 1962. Right? But that's how it started. And then it was like, she got a real estate license, and then 9/11 happened. And so our team, not the Melton team, our team on the base was gone in 7 or 8 days, and setting up a brand new base on an old British flight line and like in the middle of nowhere. And once we got everything set up, it was like we had a lot of time on our hands because we set up the whole network and everything. And so we started talking back and forth, and I started building our first website. I had no idea how to do it.
Wow.
And that's sort of how we got started.
Yeah.
Was in 2001, 2002.
Mm-hmm.
Have you always been, because I mean, I even see that in you two, till this day, right? You just kind of jump in and just try to figure shit out. Is that just kind of always been tinkering, always just trying to figure things out?
I mean, it's more out of necessity.
Right.
So like everything that I do is like, well, somebody's got to do it, and we don't have the money to do it. So guess who's doing it?
Right.
And that's pretty much, So I've learned a lot of things. And I love learning things, and I love knowing how everything works. So that is half of it too. But yeah, you learn a lot.
Have you, over the years got to the point it's like, okay, I'll try to figure that out, or then even the distinction of, no, I'm not trying to figure that out, we can get somebody else to do that? Or is it still, because I know younger is like, I can figure anything out.
Yes.
But I think as we get older and have those experiences, we know what path to go down and what path not to go down. Have you kind of got, figured that out?
Yes. When I got electrocuted, I figured out no more, we don't do electricity. When I smelled the hole after you take the toilet off, we were doing no more plumbing. So yeah, there are
definitely things. No, and I think that is a big thing when you talk about that, John, that this has, as you can kind of see, this has always been Bryant and my baby. Mm-hmm. This business. And so no matter what, through thick and thin, when things are good, when things are bad, it's our baby. And if there are other people that are on the team, be it family or other people that come on or leave or what have you, ultimately it always comes down to, it's down to the two of us, it's our baby, and it's most important to us. Mm-hmm. And so I think that's what definitely coming over 100%, coming over to EXP, being part of Honey Badger Nation, and definitely doing the coaching with you and coming into this new little private club of the kitchen table, that it has truly brought both of us into the right mindset of opening up our eyes, the who, not how, and seeing answers finally to how we can get out of that kind of hamster wheel of us doing everything on our own.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that's a great distinction, because when you feel that it is your baby, sometimes you get into the emotional side of it and forget, it's a business.
Yeah.
Right. And, Mary chiming in, and it just made me think of, it's just math, right? But when you're so emotionally vested, sometimes we forget that.
Yeah.
Right.
And so that's the distinction where, you get to that point. I remember when we pulled Kinder out of the business and when we went independent out of Coldwell Banker, and, I really revamped and took the reins, and I really felt that way, right? It was his brand. He was gone, but I felt like it was my baby. Mm-hmm. And sometimes you make decisions, not the best decisions for the business. You make the decisions based on the emotional side because you are treating it that way. So has that been a big distinction, a big change, looking at it a little bit different since coming to EXP?
100%.
For sure.
Yep.
Yeah.
So everything that
talk to us about that. How that thinking's different.
Do you want me to go?
Yeah, you go ahead.
Okay.
No, you go ahead.
So one of the biggest things when we were with Remax before, and when we got started, when Erin got started, we were 23. So nobody had ever taught us how to build a business, and we just knew sell more, make more. That's it.
Yeah.
And when you bring team members on, teach them how to sell more, make more.
Right.
And we never got to the point where it was like, we're building an actual business here, and we need to look at more than just how many sales do we have to get us through to the next month or the month after that. And that has been very good for our business, obviously. It has changed our lives for sure. It's changed the way that we do everything. And trusting the process, which is something that you say all the time, is always something that was hard for us, because we always questioned, is this the best thing?
Right.
Especially when you're 6 months down the road and it hasn't done anything, wanting to change it. And that definitely is a big part of
For sure.
the success we've had in the last year, which has been tremendous. Tremendous.
So was the thinking that was missing the most before coming over to EXP, or what were the missing components that EXP and coaching has changed or giving the business that was missing?
Right. I think it has a lot of it is a mindset of thinking, of going at things the right way, right things, right order. Because how Bryant and I, even though it's been our baby, and that he's been handling things on kind of the business building and hey, we need to change things, we need to be implementing something different. That was always on him. He'd always be the I'm going to research everything, and this is what we're doing. Whereas I would be more of the put it in operation, put it in use, and other people as well. And I think that because of that, both of us always coming kind of from a different perspective of it, that we'd regularly, that we get along and we do things, that we'd bump heads about that, that it would always be okay, we're doing this and this, and I would resist it. And then he'd be like, we're doing it. And then we get it going and we'd see some success from it. And then it's okay, well, then we just need to invest a whole bunch of more money in this because this is working. Or you kind of put something in place, and then, like you said, halfway through the year, you're like, this isn't working. Okay, well, you just abandon it and you go on because there was no direction. And I think for me, what the biggest thing has been is coming over and being exposed to all these different people. And I keep on relating it to feeling like you have been, you've been born into the 1%. And I don't know what that's like, but this is the only thing that I can maybe possibly relate it to. And because of that, you are you're going to school, you're at events, you just network with these people on a regular basis, and all of these opportunities are just at your fingertips because of whose family you were born into. And maybe you don't have $1 million, but just because of what you're exposed to and that mindset, that you're more open to things and you're going to take risks and risks that you maybe wouldn't have just being in normal people that we are. And that would be the biggest mindset for me. And I think by seeing that and meeting all of these people and seeing that they're actually normal, relatable people, that it brings that personal, relational, and less looking at someone and seeing them as this amazing, amazing people. They've all accomplished amazing things, but seeing how they come from very just normal people backgrounds and taking the exposure they've had to these ideas and collaboration and other people around them, and how it has driven them and pushed them to these other levels that they didn't think they could go to. So that is definitely, it's a mindset and an openness that has not been there before, with direction and not us trying to figure it all out on our own. That has been, I think, the biggest thing.
Trust.
Yes.
Trust is we know that the people that are giving us advice have been in our shoes.
Yes.
And it's not just one person, it is hundreds.
Yes.
That's the amazing part about our group, is you're learning from it. This is not the best of the best in the local yokel market.
Right.
This is the best of the best throughout the real estate community in the United States and beyond now.
Right.
And that is tremendous when you have people calling you like Chuck Fazio and getting on the phone. I'll send agents to Mary Murphy and, talking to people like Jay. They have done this at such a high level that it's you don't need to send somebody to an average person to learn average things. You're sending them to a superstar to learn superstar things.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so cool. And that's one of the things, definitely applaud the two of you on, being really engaging with the community. So for those that are kind of listening that, are still sitting on the sidelines that maybe, we want to say, well, I don't have the confidence. Well, there's things that come before confidence. And the very first thing is having, the courage, right, to be able to do that. So what would you say for those that are kind of sitting on the sidelines, that are not engaging, not taking, I don't want to say taking advantage in a negative way, but taking advantage of the community and the collaboration and the abundance? What advice would you give them to say, stop sitting on the damn sidelines and engage?
Yeah.
So go ahead.
So absolutely 100%. To everyone out there, I would say drink the Kool-Aid. And that has been for us something that is been really scary. I actually interviewed Sekou Pyle recently, and he said something so amazing, and it's just resonated with me. And I'm like, how does being part of EXP and part of Honey Badger Nation, how does it make you feel? And he said, to be completely honest, he goes, I am terrified in the most wonderful way, I think. And I was like, that really hit the nail on the head. And it's someone so confident and so secure and so established in the business and the community say that is the sort of stuff that I relationally can latch onto. And I'm like, okay, you're my people. Like, you're a real person. And I can relate to that because that is how I feel on a regular basis. And definitely the sitting on the sidelines, we'll get into that more, but on Bryant's end, it's definitely not in his comfort zone or wheelhouse to be getting on Facebook in these different groups and commenting and interacting with people like on their message board, everything. Like
love.
Very not Bryant's way. It's not my way either. I'm going to get a heart. And then if I'm commenting to someone, I'm going to private message them or text them or call them, but not putting out their public. Right. We're both definitely more like private people.
Yes.
And so that has been a big step up. The fact that we're doing this right now.
Yes.
Yeah.
John, from us getting to know each other last fall, there is no way in hell if you'd said, okay, so we're doing this, and then we're going to do a live interview on things, that I'd be like out the door. Like, I couldn't have
got you. I couldn't have got you guys earlier this year to do this.
So,
no,
it's hard enough for me to get on a Zoom call with you without being super, super uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So definitely people that are sitting on the sidelines, there is such collaboration. There is such true, genuine love. Yep. Everyone is supporting each other and wanting to do things that if you engage and interact with these people, you have amazing opportunities and resources at your fingertips, and everyone is just going to build each other up.
Yep.
So that's definitely the difference.
And I'll just piggyback on that if I can. When we got here, everybody always talks about adding value and providing value.
Yes.
That you're not going to get things that you want by just being a pest and asking for things. You've got to provide value. Mm-hmm. And, I really sat there and looked like, what value do we have to bring to this amazing group? Like, we're nobody compared to most of the people here. What do we have to add? And, what I came up with that is genuine. It's not anything that's
right.
Made up or contrived, or I don't even know what contrived means, but
you got it.
Is supporting people.
Yes.
And so when I see somebody, I realize, especially with Erin doing the interviews now, that it's like when you do these things, 2 people might show up, and that's okay.
Yeah.
Because you're providing the value to those 2 people.
Yes.
So I try to get on and support everybody that does things like this, because it's super important to, lift each other up. And it doesn't matter if you're Chuck Fazio or if you're just us, that it's like, you're not going to have 4,000 people watching your live shows, and that's okay, because eventually you will have 4,000 people watching the replay of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, that's great. And, I think being careful to not keep telling ourselves that story, because we all have a unique gift, a unique ability to be able to give. And so it's just understanding that. And I think understanding that you're in a very safe environment, a very safe community that allows you to be vulnerable.
Yep.
And, yeah, there are guidelines in place, but for the most part, within just speaking of the honey badger community, we haven't had to put the clamps on anybody. I think it really has just been, people coming in, and that's where, like we were talking about yesterday, how important culture really is. And
Absolutely.
the simplest way to look at culture is just a collection of your people.
Right.
And so that's why it's so important to know what you value and surround yourself with like-minded, value-driven individuals that, are purpose-driven.
Right.
And when you do that and you create that type of community, then that makes it a safe environment to where you can be vulnerable and allow your unique ability to shine. And that's the transformation that I really seen with you guys over the last 4, 5, 6 months.
Yep.
Is understanding it's okay to be vulnerable and put yourself out there, because the community's got you and they're going to help you overcome whatever it is that you guys are trying to overcome. A couple things before we kind of get back into the business side of things of what's working well now for you guys. But I do want to kind of touch on the family dynamic again. What would you say is like a couple key characteristics, the key traits to make sure that, you're able to lean on to navigate, business and family 24/7.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. You want to go or me?
You go ahead.
Okay.
You go ahead. Piggyback off of it.
I hope I don't say something wrong. That's the biggest thing right there. No, I mean, the biggest thing for us, and this goes, it doesn't matter if you're talking about business or personal relationships or family relationships or whatever it is. You have to go back to, would you be a good roommate?
That is,
And if you would be a terrible roommate, don't get married. Don't create those dynamics, because it ain't going to work.
You're right.
But it's like both of us, we don't sit there and complain about anything. Like somebody could bring me a salad that's completely purple and I would be like, I love this salad, because I don't want to make them feel bad. It's going to ruin their entire day if I go like, this is not what I ordered, We are not, handfuls, or what do you call it?
We're not. We're much harder on ourselves.
Yeah.
Much harder on ourselves than we are on people in general. So I think that is a very thing that you are, one of our core values, more that Gumby. You're flexible. You're optimistic. You're here to help. And I think that's really important to have that. You've got to have that mentality. And for us too, and anything, before anything, we were friends. There was always something else, but we were always friends. And I think that's also what you also have to come back to. And what I know when we're having really stressful or crazy times, that we got to have those moments where you just, little things that you just reconnect, and it's just like, hey, it's us. All these other things are going to come together. It's you and me. And by doing that, refocuses both of us, calibrates us, and do whatever there too. And I think with the family dynamic, bringing any family people in there and the coaching and coming over here has helped us with that immensely as well, to really step back and realize that everyone has a unique way of going about things and what they can contribute to the team and how they can find their own path. And I think actually having that direction and not having to figure it all out on our own, or going, hey, if you're not just like me, that's frustrating. Why don't you feel this way? Why aren't you driven like this? Why is this good enough when your potential is so much greater? And realizing maybe that's not their thing. And then finding the right place for them to be in things, and how that improves the relationship, business and personal as well, so that there isn't that frustration or that any resentment that builds up or what have you. I think that's really important.
Yeah. And I would say as well, and I mean, I'm sure everybody says things like this, that it's like communication is important.
Right.
But we talk literally all the time about everything.
Yeah.
And business is no different. I mean, I have very strict rules for business. Like my ears aren't allowed to work when Erin's on the phone. I'm not allowed to like be within sight of her if she's with, on the phone with a client.
I'm better without an audience.
Yeah.
I'm not.
But now we're figuring out that she's better with an audience. So now I can just ta-da.
It has changed a lot. Like I can be in there doing that and I'm like, all right, he's listening. I know he is.
Yeah.
So.
I would, one thing that I've noticed that I would say is an amazing trait and why things have worked so well for you guys is that there's just such a great sense of humor and playfulness in the relationship. And to me, that's one of the most important traits to have.
Oops.
And we'll get you back on here. There you go.
We're
back. So that's one of the from outside kind of looking in to be able to see that is I would say that's a really, really important trait, and that has to be there, and just not taking each other so damn serious. Yeah. And I think that too, that comes with age, that comes with maturity over time. And so no, I definitely think that's a key trait for you guys as well. Perfect. Cool. So let's get back on the business side of things and kind of right now, I know, Erin, you're rocking and rolling on the listing side. Things are working well for you, production. I would love, just to kind of share because that's the game right now, right? Everybody's trying to crack that code on the listing side. And so for you right now, from a listing perspective or just in general, what's working well?
It's working well. Well, one thing that has been working. There's so many ones. The first one though, I would say is that me getting a transaction coordinator to help with things in general, that has opened up my ability for time and also for my energy.
Give a little background on why that was. I mean, that was a huge.
That was a big thing.
There was some serious resistance there.
Yes. For me, it's if I am mentally and physically capable of doing something, I would much rather do it on my own because I've got it all in my head. I know all the personalities. I know I can read the room of who's upset. These words, or if they're said a certain way, that's going to upset someone. I'm just constantly reading the room. Been doing that my entire life. So for that, it's exhausting, but I knew that I was good at it. And I knew that that was my way of showing my clients that I cared and validated what they were going through and that I would do a really amazing job with that. On the flip side though, when you are transaction coordinating all the time, which is a very important thing to do, it does not leave the time and energy you need to be doing those things that I truly need to be doing, where I am truly my best and what does what you need to do with the business, which is make a profit. Make the biggest impact, yes, is by being stuck on doing that stuff all the time. So definitely doing the transaction coordinator, which he has wanted me to do forever. And we've tried a couple different things within the team, but more it's always been worry about money, reliability, because it's like someone would start doing things, but they wouldn't do it to my level of what I felt needed to be done. So it'd be just like, it's easier for me to just take it back over. And how, it was just back into the cycle again. And John, you being there and being that impartial person, going, yeah, you need to do this, and watching where other people were doing it and having good success. And with me, it's usually like, it will hit something and I'll have this time of like clarity and be like, I'll be actually open to something. And I'm like, all right, sure, let's do it. And then I do it. I go, okay, fine, I do it. And then I'm just like, and then everybody's like, oh, great. She just said yes to this. Well, then we're doing this. And I'm like, oh my God, this is why I don't do things like this. Everyone is like, oh, she's actually agreeing to something. So let's, and, but the big step of me even just going and doing someone, and with having our network and having someone that I didn't have to go like painstakingly try to find someone, and we started with someone. And there was a really good mesh between us personality wise. We weren't the best fit for what I was looking for, but because I was finally open to it and I had someone at least going that, and I saw how that opened up my schedule and allowed me to do the things that I really needed to be doing for my clients, not checking in on home inspections and termite things. By doing that, I got a taste of the good life. And I was like, it's okay that this one isn't working out. I got someone else in mind, or someone else is recommended, so I'll be able to transition over. And I was okay with it. The big first steps were taken. Also on the listing side, and for that, me having that ability to go into listings and say, hey, this admin fee, I call this my Copilot fee. Because, and I kind of relate it to, if you get on a plane and you see the pilot sitting there and you don't think less of her or him, if they aren't the one there showing you how to put your seatbelt on, who to put the mask on, loading your luggage, serving beverages, directing you down the flight line to go off, you don't think less of them. And so
if they did it, you'd be
like really concerned, really concerned.
You would be a little concerned.
And so looking at that way that I can be my very best for you the entire way through, that I would not be letting down my clients. It's not a money thing for me. It's like I'm disappointing or I'm letting someone down. If I think of it that way, I'll change. Yep. And so that was definitely a mindset, and how that's helped me considerably, and me, the power and the confidence that gives me when I go in and sit down on a listing appointment, that I have that, it makes me feel like I'm legit. This isn't just like I'm playing house anymore. This is legit. I mean, I don't know why it was going to take 20 more years to feel legit, but I'm real. This is real. I'm an adult. This is my career. This is what I do. Yeah. So being able to do that really helped a lot. And then also incorporating all of the NAEA training, particularly on the seller side, the power and confidence that has given me. And it's not that I'm necessarily doing something that's different than I've been doing for 20 years, but it's a different order, and it's presenting it at a different time, and it's talking about things in a different order, and how that establishes the authority that I've needed to with strangers. They like me. They want to be my friend. They feel comfortable with me, and I'm approachable. But for people that didn't know me personally, that had worked with me already, or people that had, been referred to me by someone or by another agent, if they were pure strangers, they thought I was nice, and they could tell, oh, you are energetic and you love what you're doing, but you aren't necessarily, oh, that other person just seems like they could do it better. Yeah. And it's changed.
Yeah, 100%.
And for me, that's very empowering, because whenever I can get to a point of trust with people, we're in there. I'm ready to get to work. I'm rolling up my sleeves, but only for the things that are important, that I know that will help for them, not transaction coordinating.
Yeah. No, so that's great. So, mentally, the mindset shift, creating some leverage, and then that has just allowed you to put more time and energy focused on getting the business.
Yes.
And more conversations. Is that really kind of what's working the best right now?
Absolutely. And more just that it's me, the mental, I mentally am open and available more, because I don't feel like I can't subconsciously take anything else on right now, because I'm already overloaded, and I don't want to let people down, where it's like, you have the time, you've got the people in place, the trust is there. It's not all on you. Like, people aren't going to let you down. And if this person isn't the right fit, there's someone else. It's all good.
That's so when what I'm hearing as you're talking through there, it's just like you're able to have more time on task of the tasks that move the needle in this business.
Yes.
I hope everybody got that, because that's really, it's that simple. Mm-hmm. Time on task. Are you putting enough time on the tasks that matter to drive the result? And what matters is lead gen, lead conversion, face-to-face, converting face-to-face. Yep. That's it. Like, if you can spend 70% of your working time on those activities, the needle is going to move, and then the revenue follows. Mm-hmm. So good. Mm-hmm. Bryant, for you, right? So, we've got Erin, face-to-face, out with clients, getting the listings. For you, what's kind of been a big shift here right now in kind of your role? I know you're also focused on increasing headcount, agent attraction.
Yep.
What's working well for you right now?
So a lot is working well. I mean, always with our team, there was always like two things kind of missing that we could not overcome without taking a really, really hard stop to go learn how to do that or whatever.
Right.
And that was, bringing your business from, like we said, the just sell more to make more into that, you're running a corporation. So you have helped with that tremendously. The other thing was your team members, they come on, and if you bring somebody on that they are just talented as can be, there's a ceiling for them.
Yeah.
And the ceiling is nowhere near your ceiling. And so they're never going to be able to surpass you. And so coming over to EXP is people, I think, don't really understand because they just hear a bunch of things, and they just kind of dismiss it. But there is an excitement for me, and that is my why for sure, is when people get their wins, when people change the trajectory of their life.
Yes.
And they end up so much further than they ever thought they could be. That's what gets me up in the morning. And that's why I was up at 4:30, which nobody cares. Oh yeah, nobody cares.
Nobody cares.
But yeah, I mean, our team members now have the ability to surpass us in every way. And that's exactly what we want to happen.
Yeah. Yeah. In a fraction of the time too, right?
Exactly.
We always, the example, it took us 6 years to get to a point that we were able to get Michael in 3, just because we went, banged our head against the wall and tried to figure it out. And then we just kind of gave him the blueprint, and, he was able to get there. And so I think that's when you find a better model, and you have a better blueprint and a better map, then that allows you to, shortcut the process to get to, wherever it is that you're wanting to get to.
Right.
It's their destination. And I think that's another cool thing too, with the family dynamic, is that, it's what they want, not what you want.
Exactly.
Right.
That's such a,
Right.
Oh, that's such a good place to be at.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's just it's a parent thing. I think that, you've got to learn. And, I just think back, it's not about me, right? It's what it is. What do they want? What are their dreams? What are their desires? And how can I support and help them get that? And so we say that with our kiddos, but it's also the same thing for our team members.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's the one thing that I sort of tell people when they come on. And I think it might be actually true, is that I think that we're going to be more excited for you than you could possibly be for yourself.
Absolutely. For sure.
And I truly mean that, because I get so excited about people having success.
Oh my gosh. It is. It's like you're punch drunk. You're having a tough day, and you get that text I passed this, or I got my appointment, or I got this closed, or oh my gosh, I said the script to him and that worked, and now we're the best friends. And you're just my crappy day just got amazing. You're blaring music. Yeah, it's great. And it's so awesome to be in that place, and it's not all on us.
Yeah.
You don't have to figure everything out. You've got this whole amazing support system that somebody has, and you can be that to them too.
And the team members that we're bringing on, which is good, and I don't know if we attract that or what, I have no idea. They truly are very amazing people first.
Yes.
They're very kind people.
Yes.
And that is something that we were always fearful of, is I don't want, sorry if your name's Karen, but I don't want Karens on our team.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
I don't want complainers and takers and
Yes.
like, well, what do I get? What do
Exactly.
you know?
Givers.
Yeah. That it's like, we're going to give you, I promise you, everything that we have, including money to get this going, that you're going to cross that finish line and be at the beach before we are. Yeah. And I don't know, you know, it's just amazing to me that like the team members that we have added so far are exactly the people we wanted.
And it's almost,
So what is it that is working to increase that headcount? I mean, knowing, I think what I'm hearing is knowing the right individual you want, right? So the ideal team DNA makeup, who they are, and you know, is the marketing, is the content, is the message, is the conversations and alignment to that? Like what is it that's gaining some traction out there on, you know, the increasing of headcount?
It's made a big difference.
So I think that it's one of those things that it's just like, where did this lead come from? That it's like, I can't really put a finger on one thing. But we have used the resources of Honey Badger Nation. I mean, Nick has done stuff for us. Holly has done stuff for us. There's so many people in there that have like gotten on the phone with us for hours. For nothing. I mean, they're not benefiting from that. They're not being paid to do that. Like, they get on and like genuinely want to help. And I've never seen a group like that. Unless it's a group of people that they don't have any business anyway. So they've got plenty of time to sit around and BS with people. This is not that situation. These are people that do 10 times what we're doing.
Right.
And that's been, you know, putting the pieces in place and streamlining everything, and the stuff that Holly did of, you know, like, what is your message? Like,
exactly.
Because like, you look like 10 different things on 10 different platforms. So it's like putting it all together. And then being vulnerable
and getting on video
and doing the uncomfortable things of like having people get to know you, and being honest with yourself. I mean, one of the things that we had talked about last time we did the kitchen table, and like, this is sort of embarrassing, but like, neither one of us are accountants. If we were accountants, like, we would be shot. The first client we had would be ready to just hang us. We're terrible with money.
We're wonderful with our clients' money.
We're
not good with ours.
Yes, not good with ours. Because we just want to give and give and give. And it's like, until it's empty, we're going to keep on giving. And I remember when we did our first coaching with you, you're like, you know, we need to get a hold of the numbers of your business. And I'm like, oh, this is how many sales we had. This is how many leads we had. I have all that stuff. No, the money. Like, you have to make sure you have some. Like, oh yeah, we do. Look, what is it? $8,000. Like, we're good to go, you know? And so you had me run a profit and loss statement for what we had done, but then also a projected profit and loss through QuickBooks. And when we had our second coaching session, I gave you those numbers, and I'll never forget the number. And it was, our projected was negative $7.31. And you were like, so all of the ideas that you have, you can't do any of them. And I'm like, you got a really bad attitude. But that was the number. I mean, the numbers aren't going to lie to you. They didn't. And all my ideas that I like to jump towards, I couldn't do.
And so it's like, okay, what do we need to focus on? We need to focus on these things we know that generate the income. You get to that point, and then you focus only on certain number of things within a quarter. And you go, okay, did we hit that? All right, we're getting there, but maybe that's for the next quarter. That's also what you need to be focusing on, because you're just going a little bit further.
And in a winter time frame, and it's like, I don't like talking about the negative money or the positive money, really. But it's like, we got to, I think, 2 or 3 weeks down. No, it would have been a month, because we do it every month. A month down the road, and our projected was somewhere in the neighborhood of positive 45,000.
That's right.
And
Sure.
like what a switch that was in literally a month.
Yeah. Yeah. When you get clear, right, the numbers tell the story. So the numbers will kind of tell you where you need to focus your energy and effort, and allows us to say, you know, less is more. What are we committed to, you know, the next 30 days? And when, you know, we talk core capital. So core capital is 2 months of cash in your operating account to cover what it costs for you to operate your business and your life.
Yes.
So, you know, for example, if you're 25,000 to run your business in your life, then our first target is to get to 50K cash in the operating account before we look at what other initiatives, what other things we need to do. So it really is like, okay, well, if we're at that, you know, what's going to help us make the cash register ring the fastest? And we have to do that. And then what works the best from there? And of course, you know, the temperature and the climate in this market has to be listings.
Right.
And so, you know, what can we do? And then what will we do?
Right.
And that's the commitment, the courage, and then comes the confidence at that point. And so, you know, you guys followed, you trust, like just like what we said earlier, you trusted the process and you saw what happens. So now that continues to blow belief. You just stay on that cycle and keep moving forward.
Yep.
For sure.
We are drinking the Kool-Aid every time it's passed around.
We are.
Don't even care that other people have drank out the same cup. Don't even care.
It's okay. Just keep going.
Just keep going. Well, I really appreciate you guys jumping in and sharing. And I guess one last thing, you know, just to kind of leave everybody with, as you know, you've made leaps and bounds just, you know, in the last 6 months, last 3 months, for the both of you, life-wise, right? What is the most important thing right now for you guys in your life right now?
The most important thing. I like this new path and schedule that we can be on. And I see that it's super achievable without us killing ourselves doing it. That it's like, we're already committed. I know we're going to Dallas every quarter. Like it's happening. And I know that we're going to at least one big mastermind in a really cool place once a year. And like, I'm not even thinking about like, when do I get my next break or vacation because I'm so burnt out. It's like, I actually am energized and excited about going to a really hard, intensive couple of days with these core people because of what a actual relaxing thing that is. And to be in that mindset. So I'd say really important things right now is this new way of thinking to keep this open to growth and open to new things and this way of life that I never thought would actually be achievable without us running ourselves into the ground. That's what I think is a very, very much our like focus and what's important to us now.
Yep.
That's awesome.
For me, it's like, I mean, always whatever makes Erin happy is.
And that sounded really shallow. I just said I just talk about personal and I don't care about anyone. I super care about things. I just need the recharge.
No, that's perfect.
Everyone does. But yeah, I mean, if Erin's happy, pretty much I'm happy. But I have loved seeing the change in her because we used to do business building things, you know, once or twice a year or whatever. And I don't know how to explain like what the process was like. The closer we got to it, I felt like I was going to have to, you know,
commit me probably to a mental instinct.
Put her in a straitjacket, take her there, apologize the whole time that we have to do this, say, I'll fill out all the forms and like do all the stuff. All you have to do is look at it and still be in trouble the whole time. You know? And now I don't get that feeling at all. And I don't know how
to like describe what that is. I can't describe even internally how that
But
feels.
the anxiety of the like business building aspect was just overwhelming to her, I guess, because she thought it was just one more thing she had to
and
do.
It's not something that excites me. It scared me. It mentally exhausted me, not because I'm stupid. It's just, that's not like my, like, oh, hey, what are the numbers? What do you need to do to take over the world? I'm more, how do I help people now? What can I do now tangibly? And it feels really good to be in that place, to be like, all the opportunities you're bringing to people on your team and to your clients and to you as your life every time you get to have these opportunities with people. So that's an exciting thing.
That's so cool.
Another thing to like, just me, like not about anybody else, just me,
I can think of something.
Is, oh, you can?
No, go ahead.
Oh, okay. So with just me, it's like, I feel like finally I have found my people.
That's exactly,
you know? And that is taken a long time because I'm a very like uncomfortable person. And then when I get comfortable, I say all the wrong things. I get so comfortable and I say all the wrong things. And so I always at anything would follow Erin around like a little puppy dog. Mm-hmm. And it's like, that's my security blanket if we're at a party or anything. And when we go to these events with you guys, it's like, I've found my people. I don't need that as much sometimes, but definitely not as much. And it's like, I found my people.
That's great.
That is, I always thought super hard to find, but it seems easy here. That's almost everything can come down to that it's like, we've known some really nice people that we really, really like. But that combination of people that are so genuine that you constantly wonder, like, how can they give me this much time and open up their playbook and show us everything that they do and be as excited for us as we are?
Yeah.
And vice versa.
right.
And be really nice people to hang out with. Like, I didn't know that existed, and it seems in abundance.
Yes, it's that similar drive. It's that really everyone wanting to be really open. And I think definitely for Bryant too, the big change I've seen is definitely, I think it's with finding his tribe and being a part of something. And I definitely see that, like, each day getting up, that he's doing things, that it's not him just into like, I got to figure out how to do this so that I can do something for the team, and researching this and like, okay, how do we do this, that it's like the purpose that he has and what he can bring to things. And I love seeing that like fire and purpose in him, that if anything, a lot of times I have to tell him that I'm like, all right, enough already. You got it turned off, rather than the other way around. Like, stop, Erin, stop. Yeah. It's like, for me, I'm like, okay, let it go for a little bit. Just veg out, do nothing.
Yeah, that's so cool.
I truly want to bring several thousand people to the beach one day.
Yeah.
And not even have to worry about work.
And that's a big change for us.
Yeah, that's great. Well, we're well on our way, and just the leaps and bounds that you guys have made in just such a short period of time. I can't wait to see the continued growth and leaps and bounds that we make moving forward. So really appreciate you guys making the time, jumping in, hanging out this morning, and just such a fun conversation, and added a ton of value back into the community. And can't thank you guys enough again. Appreciate you guys tuning in. And we'll definitely look forward to catching you guys on the next episode of Coffee and Coaching.